Hey friends, Justin here. Welcome back to my channel. Let's talk about the 2017 film Wind River. It was both written and directed by Taylor Sheridan, which was really interesting. It stars Jeremy Renner, Gil Birmingham, Graham Greene, Elizabeth Olsen, and many others. I mean, we're talking an all-star cast. I wish you guys had warned me to get my Kleenex ready before I watched the movie, but I didn't tell you guys ahead of time. So this is a mystery thriller surrounding a Native American reservation where a young woman has been raped and murdered, and her body has been found in the snow. And the larger conversation of the film is that, Native women in this country are underrepresented and underprotected. And, it even goes further than that. It's not just, Native women, it's women of color, and in a lot of instances, white women as well. And when you talk about the medical field, when you talk about policing, there are so many places where, Native women in this country, really lack the protection and the resources that other people have. What was really striking, to realize watching this film is, one, that, that crime statistics of missing Native women are not tracked by the Bureau of Crime Statistics. And also that apparently because of that, I belong to a protected class in this country, or a privileged class, where if I go missing, someone's going to look for me with intent. And, that's not something to be proud of. It's really a terrifying fact, that so many people in this country fear, simple things like going to doctors, going, into certain office buildings and existing in certain spaces because of the implications. And this movie here, really threatened to kind of blow that wide open. I don't know what I was doing in 2017 and missed it, but I wish I had seen it then. What was really interesting to me was the contrast of culture. When Elizabeth Olsen gets to the reservation, she has all kinds of trouble adjusting to the slower pace of life. She's coming from her Chicago understandings of how life is and how things are supposed to work. And she's expecting the mountain to move for her when she gets to the reservation. And part of her character arc in the story is learning that, you can't move the mountain. And the folks here have learned their lesson a long time ago. It's not that you know better than them. You just have a different perspective. They've learned to respect the mountain. They've learned to respect the land and adapt in their way. And, she had to learn a pretty quick lesson in order to stay alive and survive in that environment. The father of the young lady that was found murdered, I thought he was really exceptional and really heartbreaking. I wish you guys had told me to just have my Kleenex ready. I really wish you had. But he really touched me, just with the display of brokenness. And it resonates with me, with probably everyone that watched the film. What does generations of trauma do to a man's psyche? What do generations of being unmanned and having your women disappeared and having your land snatched out from under your feet, what does that do to the health of a man, the health of his family, his tribe, his community? That really stuck out in my mind. While this is kind of a female-centric story, it really encompassed a lot of what's going on in the country. And it was heartbreaking to see the father's sadness and his depression and resignedness. I notice that because of that generational trauma, while there are, men on the reservation here in this film, and then also on the show Reservation Dogs, with which, if you're subscribed, we're watching. There are a lot of men on the reservation, but because of a lot of trauma, a number of them are inactive. And, that's really heartbreaking to me. I think this film, highlighted the need for men, for me, for men of color, for Native men to kind of step up to the plate. We're going to have to go into these doctor's appointments, with women. We're going to have to, kind of go back to the old-fashioned way of protection, because there are, not unknown, but there are, wolves among us. And, we always have to be cognizant of that. How nerve-wracking it is for a woman to go to a doctor's appointment because, for the first time, and not know if she's going to be prescribed something fatal. To go to a new town for the first place and be out after, midnight. You cross the, certain lines in this country. I was going to say the Mason-Dixon line. And you have to watch your back in this country, as a person of color, as an indigenous person. And they really played that up here in this film, really, really truthfully and unflinchingly. The problems with policing, the problems with being able to trust the man or the system, it was really eloquently shown here in this film. Towards the end, when they were going to go out to the land, and there's kind of a deputy meetup. Elizabeth Olsen is going over, we're going to go out to the land and we're going to go to the trailer and do this and do that. And she's got all of these plans. And there was a real, character shift. One of the deputies says at one point, "Do you have a warrant?" And it clicked to me that he was asking that for his own protection. It had gone from him being a deputy pretending to protect the land and do his job, to him protecting his own interests and those of, the people around him. And, how we always constantly have to be vigilant of that evil and that ignorance that has been passed down to some people from generation to generation. It's very, very real. So while we do have a lot of conversations about healing and dialoguing, between communities, there's also searing truths that have to be accepted and talked about and understood. And but anyways, guys, this was a really, really emotional film. Towards the end, when the dad was just sitting and needed a moment with his daughter, with the thought of his daughter, those quiet moments just really broke my heart and made me cry. And I wonder what your experience was watching this film. Which of these amazing characters, really stood out to you? If you have more than one favorite, certainly let me know. What are some interesting things about the film? I was just blown away to hear that, the Bureau of Crime Statistics just doesn't track certain things when it comes to certain demographics. And where do we go from here? Has this been addressed? Has it been changed? And where is the conversation in order to move that forward? Please, if you will, leave this video a like, a comment if you have seen the movie or are interested. And please consider subscribing to my channel for more movie and TV related content. And until next time, guys, I'll see you soon. Cheers.